Hey y'all. Yep, it's Shahida Isophine again. How y'all doing out there? I hope everyone woke up in a good mood today. But before I forget, I just want to tell y'all I made another blooper. One of many. But I did a video a couple of days ago. A wife who killed her husband, her sergeant husband. And then it's another one up that says abuse is everywhere. Well, y'all, I just want to tell you both of them are the same video. And for you all that has watched it, I guess you found that out. Told y'all I know what I was doing. But what happened was the video, wife who killed her abusive police sergeant husband, that's the one, well, that's the title. The one with the title that I was trying to upload, but it didn't go through. It took forever, but it didn't go through. So then I changed the name of it and called it Abuse Everywhere. And then that one went through. But later on, when I was going through my videos, I noticed that it's the same video with different names, because I thought the first time it didn't go through. I think that's about the second video I might have made that same thing happened. I have two with different names, but it's the same video. Told y'all I didn't know what I was doing. I was trying my best to delete one, but I haven't got that far. So I gotta go back and do my research. All this reading and studying I've been doing. But I guess once I start putting these videos out, I've just been putting them out and not going back and doing what I'm supposed to be doing and study even more. But next month I'm going to visit my grandkids. So I hope that they'll be able to help me with some of this. But until then, again, I just ask that you all bear with me. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about, today I was looking at the talk, and they were talking about how, well, Eve had mentioned that when she was coming up back in the day, that her mom would always have them to get on their knees and pray, and how they would pray the children's prayer. So that was a good thing. As our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, as we give those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thou is the kingdom, the power, and the glory. Amen. So that was one of the prayers that we grew up on as well. And we would, as Eve said, we would pray and bless other people, but we would name them. God bless mommy, daddy, grandma, my aunt, uncle, my dog, whoever, but we would bless them and we would say their names. And I think I talked about that in another video, how my mom would also have us always, we would be on our knees to say our prayers before we went to bed. And when we woke up the next morning, my mom would always be going through the house singing spirituals all the time. She just sung spirituals. But And that's how I had my kids to do also. As they were coming up, they would get down on their knees to pray and all. So that's a good thing. And I don't know how many still does this in the family, but it's a good thing to start the children out, and they will pray as they get a lot going on, hopefully, and teach them about God. Teach them to pray. But I don't know. That was just one of the things I wanted to talk about because it brought back so many memories. Um, Back in the day when we would always have to be on our knees and pray. And to this day, I still pray. Oh, yes, I still pray to the Lord because He's the only one that gets me through. I don't get on my knees anymore because it's hard to get back up, but I do pray. So, and then I was looking at Mama T Speaks and Sister Pam's one of their videos, and they was telling stories about what was it? I guess I would call it some little ghostly happenings in their past, and it made me think of my Uncle Frank when he passed away. And I shouldn't say ghostly, even though we grew up when we would like see different spirits or what have you, and we would call them ghosts. But there's the good spirits and the bad spirits. But anyway, my Uncle Frank, he wasn't my blood uncle, but he had married my dad's sister. And from what I heard, he was much, much older than her. And we lived in this apartment building at the time when I was a little girl. And he lived in this apartment building. And I'll never forget how every Sunday he would make homemade biscuits. And they were so good. Oh, I could smell them now. And, yeah. So anyway, I done lost track of what I was talking about. But I said about us getting on our knees and praying and at night and all. And, oh yeah. So, but my Uncle Frank, please forgive me, y'all. But my Uncle Frank had passed away. I believe I was about 6 or 7 years old. The way the apartment was set up when you first come in, and I can still remember all this from a little kid. When you first came in, it would be their kitchen. Then there was another room after that my Uncle Frank slept in. And I would say that would have been a living room, but he slept in that room. Then there was another room behind that, which was a bedroom. And then there was another room that faced the front of the house, which was a bedroom. And that was the room that my aunt slept in. You know, I never understood that one, but as I got older, I guess I did. And like I said, she was much younger than her. And the tale that I heard was he married her when she was 14 years old. So you know those things did happen way, way back there. But he was a good man. I'll never, ever forget him. But the night he passed away, and they came to take him away and all, and then that next morning, because we all stayed over there with my aunt, and because we really lived like right across the hall from her, we spent the night there. And that next morning, my mother said that she could, because he always wore these house shoes. I'll never forget these, the kind you slip your feet in. They were like brown colored. that. He'd always wear that same type. When they wear out, he'd go get another pair of the same. But my mother said that she heard his footsteps in the room. But the thing is, when he was passing away and he was in his bed, and he took 7 of my aunt's fingers. He counted 7 of her fingers, and she passed away 7 months later. I kid you not, y'all. She passed away 7 months later, so. And then there was a time that my mom, this was after I became grown, and I lived in this house on 2, 3, about 4 houses away from her. We lived on the same street. So, and at that time, I used to study with the Jehovah's Witnesses. And I've went to different churches, so, and just in and out of different religions to see which made me more comfortable with, what I believed in. So anyway, like I said, I've been to different churches. And at this time, I was studying with the Jehovah's Witnesses. So, anyway, like I said, my mom lived 4 doors from me. And the next day, the next day after she experienced such a thing, she came in and she told me she was upstairs in her bedroom, lights out, and she must have fell asleep and woke back up, and she happened to look up in a corner of her wall. And she seen like this, what can I say, this image of an angel. She said it was like fluffy, like, or whatever. But she said she kept telling it to get back, get back. She said she wasn't really afraid, but she couldn't really believe what she was saying. And she must have been telling the truth, because my mother moved in with me. She would be in her house during the day. But when nighttime came, it's time to go to bed, she was in my house. And this went on for a while until I finally moved into a bigger house, 3-story house, and my mother came with me. So, these are some of the tales I used to didn't believe in such things, but I guess it's true. And another tale, and this was after, let's see. No, after my mom had passed, and my brother came over, and we were sitting around playing cards. Just him and I. And I heard this voice, my mother's voice. It was so clear. And I asked my brother, I said, "Did you hear that?" And he said, yes, that he heard it too. But I just heard her call my name out, just like she was like right next to me. It was so clear, so I don't know. I guess you should never say never, and never say this is not true or that is not true if you haven't experienced it too. Certain things, so I don't know, but those are things that made me think about it. Now, I want to talk about what? Oh, I've seen a commercial or whatever it was. They're suing the Boy Scouts organization because of sexual abuse. And it says that it's been going on for over 70 years or more. But the Boy Scouts organization always covered it up. But now the Boy Scouts are coming forward and they're filing claims. So it says that 12,000 were abused by 8,000 Scout leaders. 12,000 has been abused sexually by 8,000 Scout leaders. Now, they're going through these lawsuits, and you don't have to pay. If you win, that is how the lawyers get paid. That's when the lawyers will get paid. So, it says the cost for filing the claims. The law firm pays all the costs. And it says call for information no matter how long the abuse has occurred. You can still file. So the number, if anyone's interested, is 1800-977-9330. And you must file your claim by November 16th of this year, 2020. Yeah. So, that's just some information in case anyone is interested. So, now, back to the video I did on, was called Fragile, and it was found on YouTube. And I asked my viewers to please watch it if you're interested, and maybe you could pick out some of the signs of abuse. Well, I didn't get any comments on that, but I just thought I would give it a try. If you want more of it, let me know. I'll tell you more videos, whatever. If not, I'll move on to something else. But some of the things that I found when I looked at the movie was, I seen how she went from a bubbling young lady to where her self-esteem had dropped all the way down. To me, I could see that she was beginning to feel alone. She was being controlled by this young man, and she was having no self-esteem. He was trying to keep her away from her friends and her family, checking her phones. The same thing I was talking about in the videos. The control, the name-calling, the checking your phones, trying to keep you away from family and friends. And he was blaming her for his actions. It's your fault because I do these things to you. Also, he went to the honeymoon stage of trying to be nice to her, bringing her flowers and all. And they'll do this, they'll go through this honeymoon stage. Then when they think they got you where they want you again, the abuse starts all over again. They bring your self-esteem down so that you'll feel as though no one else wants you. That'll make you be there with that person longer. Then their physical abuse also set in. She was being physically abused. And then as it was going off, it looks like he may have even been sexually abusing her. So all this stuff is going on. All this stuff is going on. And these are some of the signs that I'm just trying to make people see. So I figure if you look at some of the domestic violence movies that you really become aware of the signs of domestic abuse, domestic violence. A lot of times it starts out with the mental abuse and then it goes into the physical abuse. And then sometimes it starts right out with the physical abuse. So I'm only trying to make you aware. Now this is a little different. This one, I was looking at Dr. Phil today, and it was about a mother has a young child. The dad and the stepmom has the child. The mom says that the father is keeping her away from seeing her and that he's using the courts against her so she can't have her child. Now, she says that he says, now the child is with the dad and the stepmom. The mom says that the dad is saying that she's a drug addict and unstable. She says that she's a preschool teacher. She's from Virginia. The dad keeps her from her son. She feels she shouldn't have to defend herself. She wants to be in her son's life. And about 40% of the time, the dad won't let her FaceTime the son. Okay. She doesn't know the reason why he won't let her see her child. She says that she's not a drug addict. She says she's not unstable. She says her ex-husband is a narcissist. She has a court order, supervised visits, but it was taken away from her because she said because she didn't complete her paperwork. So she says it hurts when she's around other people and they're with their kids because she's not with her child. The father says she is very manipulative. They say she is not a good mom. She does not show up at school events. And when she does, she'll make up excuses to leave. She lived with the ex-husband and the stepmom a couple times. And there were times when she snuck other people in the house. She had a court order to go to parenting classes. She never completed the 1 hour of parenting classes in 2 years. So that's one of the reasons why she lost the court-ordered visitations. And when she gets them, well, it's supervised visitations now. So like I said, she always makes it up an excuse to leave when she does show up at the school or any of the child's events. She also hasn't completed the child parenting class, which is also 1 hour. And within the 2 years, she still hasn't done that. She says that the stepmom is trying to take over. The stepmom says she's not trying to take over, but someone has to be there for the child. She says the child has all types of pictures of the mom on the wall in his bedroom, and they always talk about the mom with him so that he won't forget his mom. But according to the mom, this is not true. Uh, the mom has also been living with the ex and the stepmom. She's also taken the stepmom's clothes and wore them out when she went out. She's taken the stepmom's credit cards and used them. But all this, she says, is their fault. Okay? So, I don't know. What is going on with people? That's what I want to know. They were together for less than 2 years. And within that time, she abused drugs. She would say that he abused her. She would tear up his clothes. She got a protection order on him. I believe he got one on her. So it's just one thing. All these things can happen in one family. And in this case, it's the mother that's the abuser. It's the woman that's the abuser. So just like I said, it happens to women. It also happens to men. And she also accused him of sexually abusing their child. I think the child's 5 years old, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's 5. But that is one thing that's used so many times by these mothers when they're trying to get back at the fathers. They will say that they sexually abuse the child. Why put your child or your children through that? Many, and they'll also go as far as letting them go to the hospital to be examined just to find out that they don't see anything. And you put your child through this humiliation. And the father of the child, if he really didn't do this is something that just stays with you. So mothers, don't do that. Don't do that. This is the wrongest thing to do. To accuse the dad of sexually abusing the child, his own child, if this really didn't happen, just because you want to hurt him. I mean, that's very unfair. Very unfair. And she owes child support. So, it sounds like she's the one that's doing all. She's the one that's in the wrong. But of course, she's trying to put all the blame on the father and his stepmother. So, it seems like she might be the narcissist. Okay. So what else did they say? Out of 27 times, she only spoke to the child on the phone or FaceTime. Out of 27 times, she spoke to him 19 times. But some of the times, she couldn't talk to him because he was either asleep or he was at an activity or he was in at another child's house at a sleepover or whatever. So, it seems to me that she wasn't taking care of the child's basic needs. She's putting all the blame on the dad and the stepmom. She's not facing up to any of her responsibilities. Oh, and she also used to, when she lived with the dad and the stepmom, she used to dress up like she was going to work. But she wasn't working. And when it was checked out, if she was working at the school she said she was working at, no, they didn't have anything about this lady. Nothing. So she never worked there, and they didn't have any application, nothing on her. Then it was one other place she said she worked. It was checked out. It was the same thing. The child abuse case, that was thrown out. So this is just some of the things, we need to pay attention. All this stuff is happening in someone's family. And it just needs to be steps taken. There needs to be some type of help. Because like I said before, it affects the whole family. And especially those young kids. And especially when you're telling lies on the dad that he's molesting the child. And I mean, that's just not right. It's really, in some cases, they may believe him, especially if he already has a record for other things or whatever. And depending on what you say, this person will go to jail for something he never did. So, to make a long story short, I'm just saying that, yes, this abuse also happens to men. And it's all kind of ways they go about it. Because, yes, she was the one on drugs. She was the one being abusive. Now, I don't know if when they were together, if they were both physically abusive to each other, or if it was just her acting out onto him. I don't really know. But like I said, it happens, and I never heard her say exactly what he did to her. If he abused her, I remember her just saying she got a protection from abuse order. So, I say that to say this: sometimes women will lie in order to get that protection order. And sometimes, after they get it, they'll call the person back. They want to make up with them. So, it works both ways. The man abuses the woman abuses the man. Sometimes it's a dual abuse, which sometimes leads to death. So, I just want to, like I said before, I'm a former abused woman, and I will talk about it one day, but now it's not the time that I want to do it. But I will, and if it wasn't for the fact that I am a survivor of domestic abuse, who knows, maybe I wouldn't be here talking about this now. But since I am a survivor, and I went through it for many, many, many years, I just want to thank the man upstairs for keeping me still here. I really, really do. And I just want to, in whatever way I can, help anyone out there to let them know that they are not alone. There is help out there for you. If you can go back and look at some more of my videos, I will be doing some more and more on domestic violence. But I'm just trying to put different little things out here, like the poems I do. But I just picked out this video for you to see. All this stuff. When I do some of the poems, I can see certain things in these poems that may be helpful information to my viewers, so that you can try to put some things together for what's happening in your life. I'm no expert at this. Well, I'm an expert at domestic violence, though. But yes, I'm not trying to be a psychiatrist or none of that. I was a counselor for domestic violence. I advocated for women. I went into court with them to advocate for them. When they went to criminal court, I wrote up protection orders for the women. I counseled. I ran a support group. And then later on I moved on and I was the volunteer coordinator for all of Delaware County in Pennsylvania. So, yes, I know what I'm talking about because, like I said, I went through it, but the good Lord helped me to get out of it because, like I said before, if it don't feel right, even though I went through it for so long, if it don't feel right, move on. Maybe I went through it so long because I guess my self-esteem was down and I had the kids and cause I have 5 children that are grown now, but I had 5 kids and would have been 6, but I had a miscarriage and all. And I guess at that time my self-esteem was kind of low. I was saying that no other man would ever want me. I had too many kids. I was too old. I was too old and all the number of things that they tell you. It seems like they just get together, these men. Because they all basically say about the same thing. You're too fat, you're too ugly, or you have too many kids, or no other